So what are conditional statements in Python and what do they do? So conditional statement in Python performs different computations or actions. Basically, you're just instructing your program. If something happens, do this. Or maybe if that first requirement, something doesn't happen, then do something else. Or if none of the above happen, then do this option. It might sound a bit vague, but today we'll do 3 very simple exercises where you can see in practical sense what are conditional statements. So if you're a beginner and you're looking to start your programming journey, these 3 exercises are a perfect way to do it. Without further ado, we'll start with our first exercise. So the first program, we will ask a user to input a number and the program will simply output whether that number is an odd or an even number. Simple as that. So our first line of code will be basically asking the user to input the number they want to see, is it odd or even. So the way we'll do that, we will use input and store that in a variable called name. So for example, we start with int, basically tell Python that this value is to be stored as an integer, as a number. Here we tell our user to input the number, and then we're going to use the formula, a simple formula that will basically calculate whether the number inputted is a odd or an even. And it will just be the number remainder 2. So this is the moment where we use our conditional statements, and this is how it's going to look. So if even equals 0, this means it is a even number. So if the number is even, Python will print true. If the number is odd, then we want Python to recognize, well, if it's not the first thing, then do something else. So we're not going to do if, we're going to do else, print false. Simple as that. Let's quickly test to see, did we write it correctly? Choose your single digit number, 10, and true. So it looks like it works. If we put in 5, false, because it's not an even number. We completed our first exercise. Second exercise, so we will write a program that stores a certain password and then ask the user to input the name of the password. If they get the password correctly, the program will say, yes, that's correct. If they don't put in the correct password, the program will say, well, no, it's wrong. You didn't put in the correct password. We will tell our program that the password is Python 313, just any password, yeah? And then we will ask the user what they think the password is. So now, once again, we're going to use the magic of conditional statements. So if variable op equals Python 313, this is the way we instruct Python to recognize. If then, it will just print, well, so now we want to write the bit that will recognize if the password is not correct and say something like invalid password. So it'll be else print invalid password. And that should be it. Run the program, enter your password, and I'm going to put in cool, and it tells us it's an invalid password. After that, we'll try the correct one, which is Python 313, and it says welcome, so it recognizes the correct path. Now we move on to our third program, and the last exercise we'll do is Magpie. So we want to write a program to prompt the user for an input of a number between 1 and 7, and then according to the number, the program will give out a corresponding output based on these that you can see here. So let's write this code. This is actually quite simple. We'll define the input value where the user chooses the number between 1 and 7. And then, once again, we work the magic of conditional statements. So if op equals 1, which means if the user has chosen number 1, we will have this option printed. So what was it? 1 for sorrow. Now, the way we tell Python, if this doesn't happen, and we plan to give many other options, the conditional statement we use is elif. So if this didn't happen, else if elif user chose number 2, print 2 for joy. Okay, and basically you repeat this until you get to the number 6. So let's quickly do it. And then the last one, which one is 7 for a secret. Okay, that's enough. And the way we can make this program a little bit smarter is to include, if something else was inputted by user, that the program recognizes that and prints not a permitted number, or even better, not a valid character. Something like that. So let's see what we have when we run this. So we run the program, we choose number 3 and 3 for a girl. We try again, we'll choose 7 for a secret. So it works as intended. That's it. 3 really good exercises for pure beginners. I hope conditional statements are a little bit more clear now. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for watching. Look who just joined us. Say hello.